Welcome back to Moose on the Loose. My name's David. Today, I'm going to be going over where I think Canada will be headed with Justin Trudeau, once again, shutting down Pierre Poilievre's non-confidence vote that happened yesterday. I think universal basic income is his only play at this point. So first off, let's just look at the state of Canada and why I think he's going to go the route of the UBI. And then we're going to go over how Canada had a UBI experiment back in the 1970s, and really a lot of that data was not even looked at for decades. Over here on Twitter, by the way, follow me if you don't already. We got Shazzy Goli posting this here, where someone with 12 years of experience can't get a job. It's really sad. So I'll just read this out here. I've been applying since December. I've worked in my field for over 12 years. I have a degree, waste of 4 years and $50,000 of debt. I apply daily. I don't know what else to do. I've exhausted my savings. I'm going into major debt. I have 2 excellent interviews with no luck. One of the recruiters said they couldn't get through a third of the resumes they received and had over 12 qualified candidates they had to narrow down. I reached out to my past employer, that hires every quarter. They said they haven't hired anyone since October last year and won't be hiring. They're firing employees. This is one of the largest institutions in Canada that hires every quarter. My contact is a director and they said they're in a recession. I've considered applying for entry-level jobs, but these jobs have even more applications. According to the government, we have strong job numbers and inflation is just 3%. So let's look at this here. If we go to the next slide here, if we look at this, Statistics Canada, this only goes up to 2021, so it's actually getting worse now. But you see here, the lighter blue line is the public sector or government, and the darker blue line is private sector jobs. Private sector jobs have just continually gone down and down and down in Canada, where Justin Trudeau came into power here. And you can see, if you add in a couple more years, he just keeps bloating the bureaucracy in Canada, government jobs, which just costs us taxpayers more money. Meanwhile, we're losing like private sector jobs. It's just not a good state. And that just supports what's going on here with this person's post. So we see this every day when people post this kind of stuff with tent cities. You just got like a kilometer of people just packed full of tents, people living at rest stops. I have a whole video on that where people like outside of Hope and Abbotsford, Langley, they're just sleeping at rest stops in their RVs, and they're just becoming like a big RV stop, even though you're technically not allowed. People don't, they just do what they got to do to survive. And that's what's going on here. We've got just tent cities in Canada everywhere because people are just Justin Trudeau ruining our country, just pushing people out, financially just wrecking us. It's just out of control. I think this is Justin Trudeau's plan. He's trying to get everyone to be broke and poor, and then he'll come in as the sweeping savior with the UBI, universal basic income, offer everyone 20 grand a year, and then they get, attached and hooked on to Trudeau, and then the thought of voting out a guy who gives you 20 grand a year, it's a way to buy votes and stay in power. He's you can see my cat down here. He's a narcissistic pig who's just, I don't know if this is planned from the start. I don't know if this is something that he's maybe conjured up recently, but it just seems like this is the only direction he can go, and it's probably a path that he's worked out with Freeland long ago. So let's take a look at the forgotten experiment now. There's this article here from the BBC, which shows, we'll just break it down here. Basically, there's a town called Dauphin, Manitoba, and back in the 1970s, they ran this experiment where they gave everyone about $15,000 a year. So we can see here, Manitoba, if we zoom in, we got Winnipeg. So the researchers were based out of Winnipeg, and they needed somewhere that was not too far away, and they decided on Dauphin, which is up here, so they could drive over there and check in what's going on. This is the town they chose, and let's look at the results here. What you learn from this article is they basically, because of oil prices and stuff, they stopped the experiment after 4 years, from 1974 to 1979, but they collected boxes, 1,800 boxes of data, and they didn't even go through it. They just stored it away and did nothing with it for years until it was later pulled out and analyzed. And basically, what they found is that once they started giving people all this money, the healthcare system was then, where is it here? It was 8.5% drop. There was an 8.5% decrease in hospitalizations, primarily because there's fewer alcohol-related incidents and hospitalizations due to mental health issues, and reduction of visits to family physicians. So, and I guess that is pretty dramatic, 8.5% decrease in that. There's also, the main thing they found is that students were completing high school at 100% rate in 1976. So there was an increase in enrollments of there's an increase in students basically completing high school. Very often these people were the first in their family who'd ever finished high school. So a benefit to a healthcare system and high school. And then they're also noted here that a lot of businesses started up during this time. And after they stopped giving out the money, a bunch of these businesses closed down because people didn't have that extra disposable, spendable income. And these people often moved to Ontario and other places. Being a BBC article, they went on to talk about the UK, and if they were to implement this, they'd have to spend $140 billion per year to do a UBI. Also says a recent trial in Finland, which provided more than 2,000 unemployed people with a monthly basic income of 560 euros or 630 US dollars. What is that? It's about 500 Canadian dollars. From 2017 to 2019, and found that this helped many of them find work, which provided greater economic security. So, you know, there looks like there definitely could be some benefits there if it was done in a proper way. The problem is Justin Trudeau would use this as a method to have power over people. And I just don't like how, you know, recently the last video I put up, there was that clip of him talking of fair elections and democracy. And it's just, when he starts talking about stuff like that, it's Justin Trudeau. He always does the exact opposite of what he says. So, you know, he's already thinking of ways. I mean, there was already that one bill that was proposed where he wants to change the voting day window for Canada. So instead of it just being you can vote on one day, it would be a 3-day window, and there'd be mail-in ballots or whatever it was. I'll have to go back and look at that one. But it just allows for more opportunity for voting fraud. And I don't like when he starts talking about that when we got an election coming in like a little over a year here. I mean, if we look at the polls, right, they're just getting crushed. And if you look here, like this is basically aggregated from multiple sources and then it's averaged out. So it gives you a good sense. Obviously, the trend upwards for Conservatives is up and the Liberals is down. The NDP, you can see there's a whole bunch of markers up here and only one down here. So it looks, you know, it depends what Jagmeet does, and with this non-confidence vote and supporting that, that's not going to help him out. But I mean, if he does some moves, he can move up into the second position here, which then really puts the Liberals with their back against the wall where they have to do something. They absolutely have to do something. And I think UBI is the only thing. If they come out and say, hey, we're going to give you guys all 18 grand or 20 grand a year, you're just going to sway a lot of voters who are super broke and that absolutely need that. And the thought of taking that away as with a conservative government, even though the conservative government would make everything cheaper, get rid of the tax, everything would go back to normal, houses would be cheaper. You wouldn't need that. It's an easy way to kind of dupe people into a vote, especially with immigration. And, you know, people already have the kind of like, oh, I like Justin Trudeau because he brought me, you know, away from my country into this country. And even if they start getting a whiff of his crap, which is just stinking across Canada, the UBI is a way to sway that over. So we'll see what happens here after April 1st and the carbon tax goes up. And if things start really nosediving for Justin Trudeau, stay tuned. I think he might crack open the UBI and start talking about this again. It might be something that is seriously considered and implemented to try to save his own neck. That's where we're going to leave this episode. Thanks for stopping by here. Be sure to subscribe to this channel, turn on the post notifications, stay warm, stay fed. I'll see you guys in the next one.